trying to be nice. I waited with bouncing legs in the auditorium chair for class to start, scrolling through old texts between me and Easton. This was a new way I tortured myself, revisiting the past. There was something therapeutic in reading his old messages. I could almost convince myself that he would always feel the way he did in those early days. The auditorium was filling up now. I racked my brain to ensure I hadn't forgotten any homework or quizzes. I had become exceptionally bad at school this semester. The class was a business school prerequisite that always managed to avoid becoming interesting. Some business classes are actually social sciences in disguise, yet the professor pretends the rules are immutable as algebra. My only acquaintance in the class was a girl, Brielle, who had gone to my high school. We were never particularly close back then, but still sat with one another. We also lived in the same stake since she lived in Building B of Heritage Halls. She had a quiet disposition that I admired. We were getting each other through this dreadful class. Brielle sat beside me. I looked at her, smiling, pressing the home screen on my phone so she wouldn't read my messages. "How's it going?" "Good." She looked about as well as could be expected at 7 in the morning. I cursed myself every day of the semester for signing up for an early class. I'm not a morning person, okay? And yes, I'm aware that all you morning people think earliness is next to godliness. I just focus so much better after you've all gone to bed. "Have you spoken to Wesley much lately?" Brielle asked. I puffed my lips out in thought. Wesley lived up the street from me growing up. We were good friends in elementary school, but slowly grew apart as he pursued sports and I writing. "Not really. Why?" Brielle withdrew her phone to open Facebook. After she navigated to his page, she handed me her phone. He had posted earlier that day. "It took getting engaged for me to finally accept this, but I just want to let you all know, I like dudes." I stared at the post in disbelief. Wesley was gay? I almost couldn't believe it. He had always seemed so straight. He had told me several stories of him kissing girls in the few times we hung out in junior high. Weird. I handed the phone back to Brielle. She accepted it and class began. An hour later, we walked home together through campus. "I never would have thought Wesley was gay," I said. "It surprised me too," Brielle said, distracted. "So, I heard a rumor about you the other day." My heart sank. What could she know? What rumor? "I heard that you only dated Claire so you could make out with her," Brielle said. "What?" I said. "Says who?" "Trevor, in your ward," Brielle said. "We had a group project together." I rolled my head back, growling in frustration. Brielle shot me a sideways glance. Trevor, my coworker at the Marriott Center, had made no secret of his crush on Claire. He was painfully obvious with his feelings. It drove him crazy when Claire and I began dating. It devastated him when Claire still didn't want to date him after she and I broke up. "So I have a reputation now?" I asked. Brielle nodded. "You do." I rolled my eyes. Of course. I wondered what else was floating around about me. "That is so stupid!" I jumped right into hysterics because it was just that kind of morning. Several people in front of us turned to look at my outburst. "She came on to me. She kissed me first. She instigated everything, and I broke up with her because she kept pushing boundaries. I wanted to stay worthy, and everyone thinks I was the one pushing her." Several people were looking at me now, and a surprising number actively avoided me. They cleared off the sidewalk as if I might get violent and start throwing rocks. Brielle fell silent. We walked back to Heritage Halls. I might have felt awkward about ruining the conversation, but I couldn't be bothered to care. Brielle and I parted at the quad in Heritage Halls. She lived in an adjacent building. "See ya," Brielle said, already turning toward her building without looking back. I was too angry at Claire to feel bad about my outburst. Brielle definitely never talked to me again. I arrived home and logged onto Facebook. I opened Wesley's page to look at his post about being gay. Sure enough, on his page was an unabashed admission of affection for the same gender. Facebook had just rolled out React buttons, like literally that month, and people were laughing at the post. Those bastards. I messaged him. Me. Hey Wes, how's it going? I saw your post. Turns out I like men too, so I know what you may be going through. I don't know what your support system is like, but if you ever want to talk, just let me know. I'm pretty open and non-judgmental about it. He took 3 hours to respond. My altruistic self assumed he was probably just overwhelmed with being gay and active in the church. Wesley. Haha, oh man, my account got hacked. That was just a joke. I'm doing good though. How are you doing? Me. Haha, oh my gosh. Well, congrats. You're the second person from school to know. Wesley. You serious? Wow. Sorry. Hope you're doing good. Me. I'm doing alright, just kind of taking things slow until I figure out what I want in life. Wesley. Good on ya. Good luck for whatever you're doing. Me. Yeah, thanks. You too. Wesley. You're still the man. I closed my computer and stood to pace. I often paced when I was thinking. It used to drive Mom crazy. I would follow her around the house, planning books that would never be written. I was falling apart. It wasn't just because of my interaction with Wesley. I felt like I had no control over any facet of my life. Being friends with Easton was helping, but our relationship was fractured. A weight of distrust lingered on both sides. He didn't trust me to be a good friend or boyfriend. I didn't trust him not to distance himself from me. Our strained interactions were slowly tearing me apart. I texted him. Me. Do you want to hang out today? Easton. Maybe. I'll be off work late, but I've got to eat before I do anything, so I'm not sure. Me. I could make something. Easton. That works. Me. Prepare to be wowed with my mad culinary skills. Easton. I took 2 years of cooking classes. We'll see. I dropped my phone like one of those exploding messages in a Tom Cruise movie. My mission, should I choose to accept it, was to cook the best damn dinner that anyone ever ate. I climbed out of bed and went into the kitchen, opening the fridge. A pack of chicken legs sat on the middle shelf. A light seasoning speckled the skin. I looked closer. Breadcrumbs. No good unless I wanted to kill Easton. I would need to go grocery shopping. Teriyaki chicken seemed like a safe bet, but I needed to make sure it wouldn't kill Easton, so I looked up the individual ingredients, verifying they didn't have gluten. To my horror, I learned that soy sauce has gluten. I needed gluten-free soy sauce. I Googled where I could buy it. Walmart. I drove to Walmart, half crying the entire way. Once again, I felt as if today's events were somehow important. If I disappointed Easton, he might decide I wasn't worth his time anymore. I burst into Walmart, a hot mess of emotions, scrambling to find gluten-free soy sauce and chicken. The chicken would be at the back, so I focused on the other. I ran down every aisle of Walmart twice, furious at the evasive gluten-free section. Asking someone might have been a good idea, but no, I couldn't. What if they asked why I needed gluten-free soy sauce? What if they found out I was gay? Nope, definitely not an option. I ran down the Asian aisle for the 100th time. Not there. Eventually, I discovered it in a totally illogical place, as with all difficult-to-find items. I grabbed the green bottle, bubbling over with emotion. With an uncontrollable grin, I ran to get the chicken. An hour later, Easton and I ate teriyaki chicken and rice in my living room, sitting on what I firmly believe is the most uncomfortable couch in the world. Whoever furnished heritage halls needs their interior design certifications revoked. That's a thing, right? We should make that a thing. I'm half convinced they chose uncomfortable couches on purpose so people wouldn't make out on them. That was good. Easton sat the plate down. I cleaned up the plates. My roommates were in the kitchen, clueless about the situation's subtext. I returned to the couch where Easton and I watched an episode of Quantico. Every episode grew more tedious. Luckily, this was the last episode I would ever have to suffer through. Network TV needs to die. After the episode, Easton left. Somehow, I felt empty inside. Our interactions had been hollow. We hadn't even talked. Not really, anyway. Our relationship had grown stale and guarded. I didn't know how to fix it. The next night, I was hanging out again with my friend Mason. I had come out to him the other week and told him about my disciplinary counsel. That night, we talked in my apartment, sitting across from one another at the table. I had just finished recounting the story of my disciplinary counsel to him. He listened with an ambiguous silence. Anyway, I said at the end, I guess I just wanted to let you know how it turned out. Mason nodded, but I got the sense that I had bored him with my explanation. Hey, I should probably tell you something. The night you told me you were gay, I already knew. You did? I heard it from Ariana. She was Mason's girlfriend. Ariana heard it from Claire. I looked away from Mason, stilling my emotions. I guarded myself against displaying any reaction to the news. This was the second rumor I'd heard about myself this month. Claire was the origin of both those rumors. I suppressed a sudden urge to go to her apartment and yell at her, tell her this whole pseudo-friendship thing we'd been doing since our breakup was over. Mason's posture was stiff. I just figured you have a right to know if she's telling people things about you. I looked away. Dating her was a mistake. I thought I liked her at first, but there was a lot of non-consensual stuff between us. I really don't understand why she would feel justified in spreading rumors about me. What do you mean, non-consensual stuff? Mason asked. I don't know. I glared at the ground. It wasn't like rape, but she pushed farther than I was okay with. And it was hard. It was kind of the start of this mess I'm in now. I broke up with her because I couldn't do it anymore. Mason screwed up his face in amusement. Johnny, you realize men can't get sexually assaulted, right? His words slapped me across the face and caused me to recede into myself. Well, I told her I wasn't okay with it, and she would still do it anyway. So, just because you and Claire made out a little and you didn't like it, you think she sexually assaulted you? I don't know what it was. Mason laughed. Okay, how about this? What actually happened between you? Something about his question and mirth filled me with rage. I'm not going to answer that. Why not? Because, I said, you're laughing at me, and this year has actually been pretty hard. Mason was about to speak, but for the first time, I spoke over him. It's just total bullshit. My eyes never left his. It felt strangely empowering. I'm not going to qualify my experiences to you in some sort of litmus test for being hard. Mason shrugged, changing the subject.